You ever see a grown woman launch herself out of a freezing cow tub screaming like she's just discovered Antarctica in her own backyard? Because that's exactly how this circus started. One minute I'm on my porch, sipping iced tea, trying not to spit it out, laughing. And the next, Karen, the HOA president who lives 3 houses down, the one with the yard full of plastic flamingos, and a face that always looks like she just smelled a skunk, is howling across my lawn like a cat that got tossed in a bathtub. I swear she hit that water thinking it was some luxury spa setup and came out convinced I'd tried to assassinate her with ice cubes and bovine accomplices. Honestly, it was all I could do not to fall over when she slipped in the mud, pointed at me, and accused me of attempted murder by refrigeration. Let me back up a sec so you can appreciate just how nuts this whole thing got. It was the kind of July day where the sun tries to kill you before breakfast, and I'd just finished rigging up my annual cow cooling pool. Nothing fancy, just a big steel livestock tank full of crushed ice shaded from the sun and fenced off to keep the cows cool and the busybodies out. My Highland cows, Daisy and Mabel, love the thing, and if you've ever seen a Scottish cow pant in Texas, you'd know why I do it. I built that setup myself after Grandpa left me the ranch, because there was no way I was letting those cows suffer just because some HOA princess down the road thought ice tubs looked unsightly. Thing is, fences might keep in cows, but they sure don't stop people like Karen. You know the type runs the HOA like it's her own private kingdom, hands out violation notices for porch paint mailbox height, and I kid you not, unpatriotic floral arrangements. But until that day, even she hadn't tried to physically annex part of my property. That morning I'd just tossed in another bag of ice, poured myself a glass, and was about to sit down when I saw a sun hat bobbing over my back fence. At first I thought it was a stray kid, maybe a raccoon. Nope. It was Karen sneaking onto my land like she was breaking into Buckingham Palace. She didn't say a word to me, just strutted past the cows who looked at her like she was an alien and made a beeline for the tub. Next thing I know, she's shouting, "Finally a civilized feature in this dump and belly flopping right into that Arctic bath like she's competing for Olympic gold." What followed? Well, if you've ever heard a dolphin in a blender, you get the idea. Karen shot up out of that ice so fast she nearly took flight, turned every shade of red-purple, and then landed somewhere between anger and hypothermia. "Who fills a pool with ice?" she shrieked at me like I'd lost my mind. I pointed at Daisy and Mabel, who, by the way, had backed up and were watching her like she might try to steal their lunch, and said, "It's not for neighbors, Karen. It's for them." She was shaking so hard she knocked over a salt block, slipped again, and refused my help getting up. "Don't touch me. I know my rights. I'm calling the authorities." 5 minutes later, she's on her phone, dripping wet, reporting a toxic cow hazard and negligent pool conditions to 911. I just leaned against the porch and watched the show, arms crossed, iced tea in hand. Now here's where it starts getting wild. About an hour later, a deputy shows up. Young guy, mirrored sunglasses, looks around at the cows, the tub, the fence, then at Karen, who's still shivering and yelling about bylaws. I explain the whole thing, even show him the vet certificate and the feed tags. He just shakes his head and laughs. "This is the weirdest call I've had all month," he tells me. Then reassures Karen. "There's no law against livestock, cooling tanks, or ice so long as nobody's forced into them." "Unless you dunked her yourself," he asks me. I grin. "Nope." She dove in like a penguin with a grudge. He chuckles, drives off, probably wonders if this is what small-town policing is all about. But that's not the end, not even close. That evening, Karen shows up again this time, waving a binder full of community guidelines. She demands I drain the pool, immediately says it's a public health concern, and points to some obscure bylaw about recreational water features. I tell her again it's not a recreational pool. It's a livestock amenity on private land outside the HOA. She accuses me of making up cow spa therapy to skirt the rules and swears the board will take action. Now, maybe she thought I'd back down, but let's be honest, you can't reason with someone who thinks they're the sheriff of everything they see. So I start prepping. I set up a motion camera on the fence just in case she tries any more surprises. What Karen doesn't know is that my cousin Caleb streamed the whole dolphin dive incident online. By sundown, cow spa Karen attacks ice and loses is making the rounds. I'm getting texts from friends 2 counties over. By morning, she's posted a neighborhood alert warning unregulated bodies of water. Neighbors are asking if I'm running an ice hotel for cows. Karen. She's fuming. Couple days later, there's a thud at my gate. Sure enough, she's taped up a laminated citation for visual pollution and unauthorized thermal experiments. Not joking, that's exactly what it said. I step out with my coffee, read it, and look at her. She's standing arms crossed like she expects me to salute. I let the silence drag, then ask if she really believes the HOA can control my cow bath. She whips out a homemade map, highlighted arrows glitter pen, and starts talking about shared visual boundaries. I ask if cows count as visual pollution. She says, dead serious. They're a biohazard when combined with unfiltered water sources. I tell her to take it up with the Ag Extension. She claims she already has. Next day, a guy from zoning compliance shows up, clipboard badge the works, says there's been a complaint about runoff and community aesthetics. I show him the setup, the fences, the animals chilling in the shade. He chuckles. Looks like they're living better than most people. Tells me there's no violation unless I turn it into a water park. All the while, Karen's lighting up the neighborhood forum with posts about dangerous developments on perimeter property. She even tries to claim cows cause mental distress to suburban residents. Neighbors start siding with me and the cows. One posts a picture of Mabel in sunglasses. Another says their toddler loves the animals. Kathy down the road asks if I'll do animal visits for her daycare. Karen's thread ratioed to oblivion. She ups her game, staking a sign outside the fence, future HOA public recreation space. Mock survey her name in tiny font like she's breaking ground on a new YMCA. I just walk it back to her porch with a note, moo means no. That's when things turn slapstick. Next morning, someone strings tiki lights on my fence and plants a flamingo in an inner tube. Security cam footage catches Karen and another board member sneaking around after dark. I upload it. Nighttime trespassers attempt to turn cow tub into community pool. Comments. Internet gold. But Karen's still not done. Calls an emergency HOA meeting, demands a vote to designate my property as a community relaxation zone. She gives a speech about unity and hydration. Quotes some made-up stat about heat stroke, but when someone asks if my land's actually in the HOA, she admits, technically not yet. Meeting erupts. One old guy yells, "We just want you to stop harassing the cows, Karen." She tries to save face, blames community morale. That night I host a cookout, ribs, sweet tea, neighbors laughing. Even the cows look happy. We toast to fences and minding your own business. But I know this is just the calm before the next storm. Sure enough, 2 days later, I spot a blinking red light on Karen's roof pointed right at my pasture. Surveillance cameras. Karen's gone from HOA president to amateur spy. But she forgot my cousin works security for the county. We patch into her feed. No password, no firewall. Just pure paranoia. Next time her camera picks up motion, it plays a cow-themed music overlay and captions, "Welcome to Karen's unauthorized nature documentary." We keep it private, for now. It all comes to a head when she files a petition to convert my cow tank into an HOA pool with fake signatures. I check in with a couple neighbors. One moved out a year ago. Another is a kid who thought he was signing up for a water balloon fight. I snap pics of them holding signs. I did not agree to this HOA nonsense. Karen escalates again, dragging a recreational property consultant to my yard. He sees the cows, the ice. The salt block shakes his head, whispers to Karen, and leaves. She starts yelling that I should replace the tub with a community pool, inflatable furniture and all. Then, as if on cue, Mabel the cow lets out a moo that drowns out Karen's entire rant. Party stops. Everyone laughs. Karen stomps off, plotting her next move. She launches an online campaign, crops photos to hide the cows, claims I'm monopolizing a community feature. Neighbors flag the post. Some ask if I'm hosting cow yoga. That's when it hits me. Karen doesn't care about the cows, the water, or the line. She just wants the spotlight. So Caleb and I cut together a parody video, dramatic music, sound effects, fake nature documentary voiceover. We play it for friends. Word spreads. People beg me to upload it, but I hold back knowing Karen will step in it herself. And she does. Camera catches her sneaking around at night, dumping lavender bubble bath into the cow tub. Next morning, the water's foamy cows agitated but safe. I call the sheriff, press charges for trespassing and tampering. Deputy, same one from before, watches the footage, laughs, says, "She's gonna end up in a Netflix doc." HOA suspends Karen's privileges, locks her out of the forums. She still doesn't quit. 3 days later, orange survey flags show up all along my fence. Future site of HOA Wellness Spa. Real bulldozer tracks in the gravel. Turns out Karen filed for land reclassification, forged signatures again, scheduled a landscaping crew for clearing recreational space. I laminate my deed, posted all over the fence, call the sheriff, and send out invites for the great cow pool party. When the crew shows up, I show them the deed in the sheriff's car. They bail so fast you'd think the ground was on fire. Karen shows up in full villain costume, clipboard, and megaphone in hand, demands the cows be relocated. Sheriff calmly takes her paperwork, listens to her rant about psychological trigger zones, then watches as Mabel walks out of the bath and shakes a tidal wave all over Karen's new scarf and hat. Laughter everywhere, even the sheriff cracks a grin. Karen storms off, swearing this is war. But here's the real twist, her lawsuit. She serves me a hand-typed formal notice for emotional distress, public defamation, and misuse of water facilities. My attorney laughs so hard he almost chokes. But in her legal exhibits, she attaches a zoning map showing her own patio is built 10 feet into my property. You could have knocked me over with a feather. All this time, she's been fighting over a cow tub when her precious patio, her entire spa photo shoot setup, is trespassing on my land. I file paperwork, hire a surveyor, get drone photos, prep a formal demand for removal. Karen, not knowing any of this, sets up a community action table outside my gate, handing out pamphlets. I walk over, drop the documents on her table, and point out calmly that she's got 30 days to remove every tiki torch patio chair and rose trellis from my land, or I'll sue for damages. She turns white as a ghost. Even then, Karen doesn't back down. She takes it to court wheels in a briefcase slideshow, emails about trash cans and community morale. Judge listens to my attorney, watches the videos, sees the map. He looks at Karen and says, "You filed this lawsuit." She nods. He sighs, dismisses the case with prejudice, and warns her any more harassment will be a legal offense. That night, we throw a party, fireworks, live music, dunk tank full of ice water, just for laughs. Cows get their own tent. Caleb screens the parody video. Everyone's in stitches. Karen. She's nowhere to be found. By sunrise, a moving truck's at her house. By sunset, she's gone, her for sale sign in the yard, the whole neighborhood breathing a little easier. Now the pasture's quiet. The cows are cool and there's peace on the fence line for now. But I'll tell you what, next time someone thinks they're gonna annex a chunk of my ranch for a wellness spa, they'd better be ready to tangle with Daisy Mabel and the coldest bath in Texas. You got a story like this in your neighborhood? Tell me below who's right, who's wrong, and where the line between community and crazy really sits.